Hi everyone, welcome back to True Astrology. This is Cosmic Connection podcast. My name's Nicole.
And I'm Dave.
And as previous podcasts, we mentioned that we're going to talk about Pluto, especially Pluto retrograde back to Capricorn.
And that's right, because Pluto defines the generations. And with Pluto in Capricorn right now, the overall theme is transforming societies.
And not only that, we actually developed so much within the Capricornian theme because Pluto makes money. Pluto brings the development. Pluto brings the complete transform energy, right? So we see that a rising of the corporation, power to the government, power to the top, power to the father figure in our society since 2008. And now we are almost end of it. And this year, entire this year, right? So the retrograde will be continue until beginning of next year, I believe.
Yeah.
And then it will go to 0° Aquarius and then come back to Capricorn for 2 months. And then after that, Pluto will be permanently stay in the sign of Aquarius.
That's right.
So we're dealing with a revisiting theme as a retrograde. And this is a really important time. Like I mentioned about you are the father in the previous podcast because of we are the authority figure. We have to bring our inner security, not from the people who provide us. We have to be the provider for ourselves.
And build our inner foundations.
And at the same time, we see the huge problem with the garbages and all the excessive possessions. Because of Pluto in Capricorn is basically CEO types of energy, businessman types of energy. So they created so many things for generating money. So when Capricorn is positively aspected, they become builders of the society. They bring really good technology. They provide something that humanity can utilize it.
Yeah.
However, when Capricorn energy get negatively aspected, they want to just make money. Because of this is a CEO businessman energy. So I think a Four of Pentacle in the tarot really explain this negatively aspected Capricorn energy really well. And in fact, Four of Pentacle is a sun in Capricorn. So basically, you detached from your emotion to how you make money. So you want to turn everything into the gold, everything into the profit. So that ends up to making too much, resources.
Yeah. And even to take that one step further, the description of the card is it even turns your friends and family into gold.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's kind of a little bit of cold energy. You're very detached energy. But in order to do business, you do need that kind of quality. However, when you go too far, somebody have to stop it, right?
Well, so that's why the maternal energy, the Cancer energy brings the loving and the caring, the nurturing side to balance out that energy.
So now 29° Capricorn, we are actually seeing the negative Capricorn quality of it as a reality.
Yeah.
For example, fashion industry, even though they have a way too much unsold goods, merchandise sitting on their factory or somewhere as a landfill, they still produced more because of the once they stop the production line is expensive to reboot it, or some cases they have to make a new factory to make a production line because the production line is very complicated. It's not just switch on and off types of a machinery we think. It's more like complex machinery. Once you turn it off, then you don't know what is wrong. It's not turned on. So the investigation and changing the part, it's more money at the end of the day. So that's why a lot of factory, they don't want to shut down. That's why in China, they have only 1 day of the factory day off, which is a Chinese New Year's Day. Well, otherwise, the factories are running 24/7.
Yeah, well, when you look at some parts of China, they have an overabundance of produced goods. So,
that's exactly Capricorn style, when it's negatively aspected.
Yeah, do you remember that article where the Chinese government was giving grants to electric automobile makers. And so they were accepting the grant, but they made really crappy cars because their motivation was to get the grant. And a lot of those crappy cars never really made it to market, and they just ended up in landfills.
Exactly.
Right, so that's just one negative expression of it. And on the positive side, obviously, is we definitely need structure to work efficiently within this collective society. But if the motivation is distorted, or the motivation is for just purely for money or for profit, then that's where we create this imbalance.
Exactly. And we actually see a lot of one-time use quality products in Alibaba, AliExpress, or even dollar store, even Amazon or online like shopping places. We see those kind of things everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's actually killing our environment, bringing whatever chemicals that attacking our hormones, our body, our future, children's and humanity. We'll have to deal with it. So we are seeing all the what Capricorn did as a result at the 29-degree Capricorn.
Yeah. And also remember in the last video, we were talking about all those influencers that were, rising to fame. They built these companies, and they were basically creating white labels, right? So they were ordering their products from factories in China. They were branding it, slapping their label on it, and then they were marketing it through Shopify or through Amazon. And so they were creating all of these products for the masses. And now at 29-degree Capricorn, what I see is a lot of these excess products in liquidation, or even like, when you go to Home Sensor Winners, they have their clearance section. I see a lot of white labeled products
basically
there.
Alibaba, AliExpress products floating around. And we're still dealing with the Capricornian energy. That's why people still make money out of this one-time use or low quality products. For example, a lot of people just buy return product by pallet and then sells it. So that's still very Capricornian quality. People just want to make the profit out of it, no matter what. It's whether they're ordering something, they're creating some new product to the market, or they're resellers, or they're kind of like reselling the return product. Even people go to thrift store buying some like pretty or nice product to resell it. So that's very still Capricornian energy. But when Pluto goes to Aquarius, that energy will be disappear basically.
I mean, the focus would be more on the long-term goals.
Yeah, exactly.
And Aquarius is an air sign, whereas Capricorn is an earth sign. It's actually the last earth sign out of the three.
Exactly.
So you had the Taurus, the Virgo, and the Capricorn. And then the last two signs in this zodiac cycle is Aquarius and Pisces. So it's an air sign and then a water sign. So basically all the tangible goods that we've produced on a collective scale have now come to a culmination. And now we have to use our big ideas and come up with solutions on how we can deal with these problems. And then after that, when we go into Pisces, that's when we can really decide, okay, we can now let all of these old ideologies go and then start again fresh when Pluto goes into Aries. Right?
Exactly.
So it's a really, really interesting time for the next 20 to 40 years of how everything plays out. And I think like a lot of the things that we did overproduce, it's going to really start to shrink. I think people will be a little bit more conscious and mindful of what to produce and where to pour
That's an Aquarius
energy.
Quality, right? Because Aquarius want to see long term. And if it is not fits their future, they don't want to make it. They don't want to use it. So today I read an article about people in Germany. They don't own AC because they believe that hot day or like a really steamy summer is a short. They can just, get by. So if you just stand one more day of the hot summer, then it will soon goes to the fall. So you don't need AC. And that's one part, but the other major part that many German people don't use AC is they believe that AC destroying nature. So they are thinking long term. So I realized that, Germany is a very Aquarius types of country. So entire people think like that. Some of the European country, they don't even want to use the nuclear plant, nuclear powered electricity because of they don't want to destroy Mother Gaia. They don't want to destroy, environment. So they already has that in that. And imagine when Pluto goes to Aquarius, entire humanity will have an interest in the future generation. By then, we're going to see reduction of the production. We don't want to produce unnecessary product just for the money. Garbage recycling issue will be more important.
Yeah.
And in some extreme cases, I feel like a lot of production plants will shut down.
Yeah, of course, because everything has to fit within this smart ecosystem, right? Because Aquarius is all about the smart home, the smart cars, the smartphone, the smart appliances. Everything is E or electric, right? So that means that anything that doesn't fit into that ecosystem will stop being produced, right? We even know that already by 2034, 35, the Canadian government already announced that they're going to stop producing gasoline, petroleum powered vehicles.
We already see that kind of future direction pulling us to go there.
Yeah, and then a lot of the gas stations now have the electric charging stations. And a lot of the shopping malls have already invested into that infrastructure. So we're starting to see this overlap of the old world and the new world that is, I guess, coming to manifestation.
As like Pluto now retrograding back to Capricorn, like we have to make sure we have to build our foundation, not just, sold our soul to making money and profit. And the end of the Pluto's transit in Capricorn, I think people have to deal with the trauma, how Capricorn literally brings so much garbages that people have to deal with.
Well, and also Capricorn is a cardinal energy. So it wants to start and initiate something. So it started this whole commercialized industrial revolution production type of energy. Aquarius now has to take all of what Capricorn started and maintain, because Aquarius is a fixed energy. So because it's fixed, we're talking about themes of control, maintenance, working with what we already have, and not really producing more stuff.
That's why I see in some cases a lot of factory will shut down, or people demanding the factory to shut down because we're not going to buy this. We don't want to go through this. People just producing unconsciously cheap products for profit have to be stopped. Maybe people might protest doing that kind of business.
Yeah. And because Aquarius has not only Uranus as its modern ruler, but also still has the Saturnian influence.
Yeah, it's the same ruler. But how Saturn expressed in the Capricorn and Aquarius is
different.
So different, very, very different. And Capricorn is cardinal and also very feminine energy. Aquarius is masculine and fixed energy. And Aquarius is about the idea, like-minded people, long-term goals.
And your community.
So it has a little bit of a communist country
on the negative side.
In the negative side. Like when you actually meet any community, if you meet bike community or like piano community, whatever, they do have their rules and like leaders and how they run their community,
but there's a goal, right? Because Aquarius is goal oriented.
Like if they have to keep the goal or manifest that idea, everyone kind of like
they're aligned.
Aligned.
Sure,
they just kind of like, okay, I will not do that, even though my personal desire is doing the opposite side, but for the greater good, I will, like give up on that, That's the Aquarius types of energy. And when I research about the communist country and a lot of people who came those countries saying that, oh my God, it's impossible even changing my shower head. If something broke, nobody produces, it's hard to get it. I have to just maintain it. So it is like a communist kind of energy. So while Pluto in Capricorn retrograde, we have to make sure our foundation.
We're making the right decisions from our heart.
It's like inner authority, right? So again, so you mentioned that Capricorn is the last earth sign. And the natural cycle standpoint, after Capricorn, there's no more builders, there's no more Earth energy. And especially 2027, 8-ish, we don't have any outer planets holding Earth sign.
Right. So around that time period, all the outer planets will be in masculine signs. So we're talking about fire and air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you see things bigger picture, you know that when we go through the time that we don't have any outer planets has a water and earth sign. However, it will at the end when Pluto goes to Pisces, especially going to the new cycle as a Aries, and other planets will be in the, like earth sign as well. So by then we are going to realize that, oh my God, I prematurely let go of something. I didn't build it. Oh my God, what can I do? Right. So we don't want that. So we want to see a little bigger picture, more like a holistically.
Yeah.
And when people just focusing on Pluto in Aquarius, like a Pluto in Aquarius will make a trillionaire, multi-trillionaire communities through Aquarian types of energy. However, when the air strong energy transit finish and when the Pluto goes to Pisces, our time to let go of all the things that we accumulated as a humanity, then we have to adopt the new types of theme.
We have to become more spiritual.
Exactly.
Think of it this way. Saturn is the gatekeeper for the Earth. So when you look at the outer planets, we're looking at Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And so because they're outside of Saturn's bounds, then that means they are more spiritual in nature, right? So they're outside of the 3D. They're more spiritual, they're more collective, they're more subconscious. So when we're dealing with these outer planets and they're forcing humanity to go through a time where everyone's going to be focusing on masculine signs, fire and air energy, then people aren't going to be really concerned about the home or be concerned about nurturing others or be focusing on their foundations or the grounding. And without that, by the time we reach 2030, the saying like, you will own nothing, you'll be happy. That's exactly what it's talking about.
Yeah, like
it's
Pluto.
like people won't be focusing on the earth and the water energy. And then when we hit the turn of the decade, and all of a sudden the outer planets like Neptune goes into Taurus, and then eventually Pluto goes into Pisces, by that time, what will you really own, right?
Exactly.
And so it's like, are you going to really start from the bottom? Like, I don't think it's possible when everyone's focusing on communities, long-term goals, and letting go and sacrificing and trying to be more spiritual.
Yeah, let's say, like a Pluto in Aquarius formed like a lot of a little community.
Yeah.
It actually hit me with why, the negative leaders in our society pushing the idea of the 15-minute city. So the 15-minute city is the small community. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Biking and walking.
Yeah. Like they just kind of contain people in the smaller kind of container. Yeah. And then they're kind of connected by like a networking or blockchain and things like that. But Pisces is mixing everything together. So when Pluto goes to Pisces, all the like a little community will break the wall and they merging everyone together.
And dissolving all the boundaries,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So the Pluto in Aquarius concept, like a 2030 agenda, whatever the concept we are hearing, that's only the short, one of the expression. Not only that is just like a short period of time when you see the bigger picture. Yeah. So Pluto will go to sign of Pisces to end of all the cycle. Pluto started from the Aries. Yeah. Let's actually look into how Pluto evolved from the sign of Aries. So Pluto started this cycle in Aries 1822 to 1851 to 1853-ish is because of the retrograde cycle. So during this time, Pluto brought the development and transformation in the sign of Aries as a starting point. And really interestingly, and USA, North America got the first railroad. The railroad system is such a like pioneering something. They're putting the line in the place that nobody went before. And then they put the train. Train is kind of representation of the head first Aries it goes fast, metal. So they really did put a lot of energy and brought so much money in that development.
Mm-hmm. And that's right. That was the beginning of the wild, wild west, right? Where all the entrepreneurs, the cowboys, and pioneering something, right? So it was a lot of head first initiating, but obviously, Aries quality, right? It's like they don't think before they act, right? So it was a time when there was kind of a lot of like lawlessness, right? Like not many rules, and people were just doing things for selfish reasons.
Exactly. And when Pluto moved to sign of Taurus, that was 1851 to 1884-ish. That was a time the Pluto developed the land of America, or like entire world. So a lot of people grabbed the wealth and possessions.
Yeah.
They really brought money through the agriculture, cotton farms and silk farm. And they used the slavery and child labor, which all like related to the sign of Taurus. Because Taurus is the Mother Gaia, the earth we are living in, the land. So they developed the, farm. And Taurus is our body. Taurus represent our 5 senses and also representing human. So they're using that as a slavery and labor. It's a kind of dark history of ours. However, that's how Pluto developed in that area during that time. And it brought so much wealth and the possessions
and
to
materialism,
people.
Yeah. And then when Pluto went into Gemini.
And when was it? It's 1882 to 1912-ish. Pluto developed in the Gemini quality. So as you can guess, the newspaper and radio boomed. So many people made money through the radio, newspaper, propaganda to merchandise and sale and exchange, and large size of the commerce happened during this time.
Yeah, and then the telephone became mainstream.
Yeah, it's such a Gemini quality, right?
Exactly.
So Pluto really upgraded in that area.
Yeah, and that was the time when there was mass communication and media.
And Pluto moved to sign of Cancer between 1912 and 1937 to 39-ish. It's called a silent generation because most of people was under influenced by a sign of Cancer. Because of Cancer is located in our 4th house in our zodiac wheel. And it sits in the IC. IC is our roots, family, home.
And private life.
Yeah. So like regular people, everyday people will stay home doing agriculture stuff. But at the same time, this is the war season. So a lot of people went outside, fight for the country because of surprisingly, Cancer is the one of the sign can represent war. Usually Cancer is a very loving, nurturing sign, but when Cancer has the reason to fight, they fight to the death. They're really strong energy to protect.
Well, it's the mama bears, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the Papa Bear is going out for fighting and put the structure in the society. But when Mama Bear they protect.
Yeah.
So we see that like a lot of strong mothers rescuing their children.
Yeah.
That's the Cancerian energy.
Yeah.
So during this time, majority of people were just staying home to raising children, focusing on agriculture, farms. However, the other side of Cancerian influenced the people fought for the country. They were so proud of it.
Patriotic. And the Pluto and Cancer generation were pumping out children, right? And that makes way for the next generation, which is the Pluto and Leo generation, right?
Exactly. Pluto in Leo generation, we call the boomer, right?
Baby boomers.
Leo is representing inner child, creativity.
And children, lots of children.
So that's why my mom is, like your parents, Dave, is Leo generation. And your parents' generation have a tendency to have a large family, like 7 siblings, 8 siblings, right? So it's after the war when the men return back to their hometown, married, and they just wanted to focusing on the 5th house of the creation.
Yeah, creating children. Yeah, because during the war, a lot of lives were lost, and it was a really silent but dark time in our modern human history. And so it was kind of like, okay, now let's bring children. We have peace now. and this focus on entertainment. And so a lot of the creative expression really started around this time period.
At the same time, this was a kind of war season as well, because think about it. Leo represent king, and there was too many kings in the world. They wanted to be the best. So like Japan, they wanted to take over the world, and also, you know, like a Stalin to Hitler. So they were fighting for the like a Leo quality as well. So they wanted to be the king.
And I think this baby boomer Pluto and Leo generation is so important because they are the polar opposite of the Pluto in Aquarius energy that we're going to be going through. If you notice that during this time, a lot of babies were produced, but with Pluto in Aquarius,
which is the opposite sign.
Which is the opposite sign, we're going to have less babies collectively, and we're going to have more Aquarian overarching themes of how babies are produced. So we're going to now be exploring as a humanity, okay, if we can't naturally give birth, what are the artificial or synthetic ways to give birth? And so this is a really sensitive topic that we're not going to go deep into in this episode. But I just want you to sort of see that from a big picture standpoint, that everything does work in polarity. And ultimately, what we're trying to achieve as a collective humanity is balance. What's the middle? How can we get all the positive qualities of Leo and all the positive qualities of Aquarius and then manifest that into our reality?
And also, I want to add one more thing though. So Pluto in Leo, the war kind of period. So those people wanted to become the king, they fought.
Yeah.
But Pluto in Aquarius is everyone's are equal. Because when you actually picture the Aquarius image, is that the man in the picture pouring water out. So everyone's are equal. We're not going to see the king quality. It will be more like an organization. It will be more like an equal quality. Right.
Yeah, it's less about the individual.
Exactly.
Because Leo is an individual sign, whereas Aquarius is a group sign, it's the mob. So all the decisions are going to be based on the collective energy.
So we will go through more Aquarius theme as we go through this transit. So after the war period, the Pluto go into the
Virgo.
This is kind of very interesting era. It's between 1956 to 1972-ish. And Pluto or people went through the war and went through trauma. Because, you know, how many, you know, like friends and family and father and son we lost because of the war. So during this time, first healthcare and first pharmaceutical company, pills and birth control popped in.
And the microwave, making things efficient and convenient, right? And this is when a lot of women started going into the workforce.
So Virgo is the caregiver in the zodiac. And Virgo gives service. So when Virgo sees all the orphanage, all the people got hurt, they wanted to give service. So the Virgo sees all the, you know, damaged people and heartbroken people from the war, and they wanted to care. They wanted to bring more hospital. They wanted to bring health care. They wanted to bring like orphanage care to the people. During this time, when we actually see the production, let's say the artisan level, all the beautiful things created during this era.
Yeah, and also I think all the doctors and nurses today are actually from this generation as well.
Exactly. So the Virgo can narrow focus and make everything really organized. So we see a lot of good quality furniture or even cars and everything was like built in during that time was really strong, service oriented and detail oriented, artisan focused theme. And Virgo represent mom, women. As you mentioned that a lot of women started to work. Before, women are like more stay home, raising the children types of energy, but Pluto in Virgo brought a lot of like amazing workers.
Yeah, because Virgo in itself rules the sixth house, and sixth house is all about work, self-employment. So this is when literally the 9 to 5, the workforce, this is when it all really started.
And the Virgo can control things really well. So that time, first pharma brought the birth control. So this is very Virgo types of energy.
Yeah.
And Virgo has a tendency to worry. That's why they don't want to go to war anymore. They don't want to have an orphanage. They don't want to see the lost kids. They don't want to see the hungry people anymore. So they put a lot of things in the society. Because of this is another earth sign. So Pluto in Taurus, they developed the farm and they brought a lot of wealth
food,
and, cotton farm to silk farm, slavery. And then this Virgo, they use another earth energy to make it fine detail, bring the high quality things and bring the Virgoian.
It's the working class, basically.
And then Pluto moves to Libra.
Yeah.
And Dave, you are Pluto in Libra.
Yeah, I'm part of this generation. And for me, it's all about balance, right? So when you look at the astrological wheel, the bottom half of the zodiac is all about personal development. So houses 1 to 6, Aries to Virgo, developing yourself. And the moment you go into the 7th house, now it's all about others, right? So I'm part of a generation that was born between 1971 and 1984 that is here to be the bridge to bring all of those personal developments and bring it to the world, to focus on relationships and building balance and harmony and bring all of those Venusian themes to the masses. So if we think about Libra, it's like the wedding industry.
Oh yeah, wedding industry boomed during this time.
Yeah, luxury right?
Wedding. I guess before the wedding was just more like a sacred and more like holy types of things and family ceremony and events. Yeah. But during Pluto in Libra, it become commercialized. So Pluto generated so much money in the wedding industry.
Oh yeah.
All the, a beautiful gown, the diamond ring, that kind of concept actually popped in during this time. Yeah. And made us so much money.
Exactly.
Let's move to Pluto in Scorpio. So I am Pluto in Scorpio generation. And during this time, Pluto generated a lot of money, development in the Scorpion types of energy.
Porn industry.
And condom and age. So this is a really interesting era. Yeah, Scorpio rules the sex, death, porn, and also toxins and some kind of virus because Scorpio tail holds all the toxins in the Scorpio's organ.
Yeah, we talked about this in the previous podcast.
Yeah. So that Scorpio has a protection energy because Scorpio attacks other people because of to protect itself, right? So the protection, what is it? The condom in the a sex industry. That industry made so much money.
They were literally giving condoms away for free, right? Like Trojan and other brands, because it's the whole theme collectively was you got to protect yourself, right?
And then we moved to Pluto in Sagittarius era. So we call this generation Gen Z, right? So my generation is millennials and Pluto in Sagittarius is Gen Z. And we are dealing with the Gen Z issues a lot in the social media, as if people saying, oh, Gen Z, they don't know this, they don't know that, what's wrong with the Gen Z? But we just have to understand what Pluto in Sagittarius energy carries.
Yeah, well, it brought to us the internet, right? So in 94, 95, that's when we really started to see Web 1.0, and literally everything was shifting online. So the kids born during this time were growing up with the internet.
Yeah, exactly. So that's their quality. That's what those, Gen Zs are carrying.
One really good quality I love about the Pluto and Sagittarius generation is they're truth seekers. Because Sagittarius is the teacher. It wants to seek the ultimate truth. And so they're able to see all the truth that's going on collectively and to help develop the higher mind of the collective. So I really, really love that. And Jupiter's a positive planet. So there was more good things that happened during this time.
A lot of people had a desire to go to universities in, Harvard or Ivy League or very high level of education. They were a lot of people were dreaming about that.
Of course. And in Toronto, all of the universities and colleges were going through heavy transformation. Their campuses were expanding like crazy.
I know, because of the international students who were throwing money. And I'm not an exception. I did that.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So I came to Canada through this Pluto in Sagittarius transit
Yeah.
because I wanted to study abroad. And yeah, like, you know, I had to pay 4 to 5 times more tuition fee than local people. But
Yeah.
however, that was like a desire I had.
Yeah, exactly. And the one big worldwide event that happened was 9/11. And that was 6 years into this transit. And that transformed the way we travel.
Exactly.
So when you look at all of the worldwide pandemics, epidemics, they're all related to the sign that Pluto is in. Isn't that pretty
I know.
interesting?
1 or 2 major events happened in the Pluto in the sign transit.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the international travel and university, how we travel in the world, that was like rising, but that kind of incident put down a lot of restriction.
Of course, because if you're going to have like this huge influx of international students, you need to reform how we travel by air.
And also finally, Pluto moved out of the Sagittarius, moved to Capricorn since 2008, and currently still in Pluto in Capricorn, retrograde, right?
And do you remember back in 2008, we had the big economic crash, right? So now the Capricornian theme is all about big business, right?
A lot of, you know, previous cycle, Sagittarius, a lot of flight center, they claim bankruptcy. So when Capricorn sees that, the falling down of that industry, they saw that as opportunity because of Capricorn is the CEO. They are businessmen. So they literally merging all the companies during that time and they become mega corporation.
Exactly. And so there was a lot of merging and acquisitions during that time and funneling all that power to the top. And this this was really like when all the social media started in the Pluto and Sagittarius, like the YouTubes, the Facebooks, all that. That then went into the big business, into big tech, right?
Exactly.
And so that's what the Pluto and Capricorn generation was about.
I remember the very beginning of YouTube. It was like just someone's camcorder quality.
Just dancing.
Yeah, just dancing or they're like a trip to Paris, trip to camping, whatever.
Or playing
random
pranks.
Video with like a low quality sounds and video. It was just floating around, but all of a sudden it boomed and it became commercialized. Yeah,
it became a business. After 2008, people started to figure out how to use social media to make a lot of money.
And also Capricorn represents a bank. So I see rising of the banking and capitalism during this era. And we still see it, but we're seeing the negative side of it at the end of the 29-degree Capricorn.
Yeah. And you know how in the Pluto and Sagittarius, we had all of the travel companies that had all the prime real estate? Well, in Pluto and Capricorn, all the banks, the big banks, they had all the prime real estate.
Or the top of the food chain, for example, Starbucks got all the main corners of the streets and or like Apple Store.
All the big flagship stores, they were so beautiful. And that was sort of like the representation of the power, right? So we are the #1 brand in the world, and this is our beautiful store to kind of show for it.
Exactly. And also, when we see Pluto permanently move to Aquarius, we're going to see unimaginable scientific development and knowledges. And as I mentioned that Aquarius is very scientific sign and they want to develop so many things, but Capricorn also develop a lot of things. I mentioned that it's a builders of our society and Aquarius also carries that energy too because of they are sharing same ruler, Saturn. But how Pluto brings the scientific development in Capricorn is something more tangible. Some kind of very practical.
And traditional as well.
Traditional invention. For example, what was invented in previous Pluto in the Capricorn cycle?
So that was around 1762 to 1778, the last time Pluto was in Capricorn. And that's when we had the Industrial Revolution, right? And around that time also in 1765, India became part of the British Dominion. And the first steam engine was created.
That's basically base of what we built up our society.
And then towards the end of that, we had the USA Declaration of Independence.
USA is having a Pluto return actually.
That's correct.
See, like whatever people who carries this energy bring the building blocks for the society. And the scientists will bring Pluto in Aquarius energy. They will be focusing on more like extraterrestrial types of energy. It's more like a wave and frequency.
Air related things. So things invisible to the eye.
Exactly.
Right?
Something like a zero field and zero technology.
Yeah.
But Capricornian scientists will bring like engine that runs better, smoother, or like that's something more tangible things.
Yeah.
And then Pluto will go into the sign of Pisces, which is the last transit. So humanity or like a mankind will upgrade or will let go about a lot of unnecessary things and remove all the boundary we built in the sign of Aquarius. And all the restriction or long-term goals and wishes that we thought that is helping humanity, we're going to remove all the restriction boundaries and merging everything together, let go of it. And then when Pluto goes into the sign of Aries, then Pluto will start new journey again. So don't really focusing on too much of the one sign because it's only like 20 years so.
Yeah.
And then Pluto will change the sign and then we'll start new cycle. So we need to see things more bigger picture. We need to connect the dot better.
Yeah.
So at the moment, Pluto is giving us a chance to build our inner authority or building our building blocks that we can go through the last two transit in Aquarius and Pisces. So don't forget to hold on to something we can put that as a foundation. So today we talked about the Pluto's transit since 1822, and we are almost end of it. Within 40 years, Pluto will finish the journey. And at the same time, we have more layers. For example, USA is having Pluto return. So USA's Pluto is actually sitting at the second house connecting to the Neptune. So that's how the country makes money. So Pluto-Neptune connection is about the petroleum money. It's all about the kind of like a fluid, pharmaceutical. The money system is changing. And we feel like when Pluto goes Aquarius, everything will be the metaverse. Everything will be like cryptocurrency. But however, that's one of the expression. Maybe we don't need to go through that. So like we don't need to like prematurely let go of everything. So the lesson in here is we have to focusing on Pluto in Capricorn at the moment to build our inner authority and releasing out these false belief, false father figure in our life to making our heart space really strong so that we can go through the Pluto to finish the entire journey. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to leave comments and let us know what Pluto generation you are and tell me about your more story. And I really like to connect with you guys and exchanging ideas. Again, this is a Cosmic Connection Astrology podcast.
And also don't forget to share this podcast with anyone who you feel like needs to hear this message.
Until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.